Hello everyone, welcome to this video where I'll be walking you through the entire A2P 10 DLC process in Go High Level. If you ever had trouble getting your SMS campaigns approved or maintaining deliverability, you are not alone, because that's exactly what this video is here for. I'm going to help you to get through this process as easy and as smooth as possible. Now, before I dive into that, let's understand what A2P is. So A2P stands for Application to Person, and 10 DLC refers to 10-digit long code phone numbers. Now, in this video, I'll cover how to set up A2P registration for your own business and for your clients. I will also share some tips to avoid common mistakes and maximize your approval rate. So let's dive in. Before going into the tutorial, why does this matter? If you are not A2P compliant, your messages might get blocked or filtered as spam, which means your clients' marketing campaigns won't be reaching their audiences. So proper registration is going to ensure that your messages are classified as trusted and get delivered. So again, this is not just about compliance, it's about making sure your SMS marketing works as intended and you are not wasting money on undelivered messages. Another thing that I wanted to share before diving in is that all of this information that I'm going to share with you is going to be available at the high level support portal. So basically on the link in the description, you're going to get access to all of this documentation that is really important to understand how this A2P registration works and the use cases in case you have a specific campaign that you want to get approved. You can take a look at this documentation that is always updated by high level, and it's really useful to get through this process. All right, now let's get started with the tutorial. So I have created this account where I'm going to show you the step-by-step on how to get this process, the A2P process. The first thing and most important thing to have in hand is your CP575 registration. This is going to be really helpful to get some important business information that we're going to pull over to Go High Level. An important thing is that if you have this document handy, in case you get rejected, Go High Level support is going to help you to get approved. So that's an important document that you need to have in hand to go through this process. Now let's get started. We're going to go to the settings under your self account. The important part here is to fill out all the business information based on the document that I just showed you. This is a sample document, and we're gonna fill out all the information that is on there. Business type, industry, the registration ID type, the registration number. Again, we're gonna use the information here to populate the data over our business profile on high level. The main important part here is to have the right legal business name. So you're gonna be able to find that over in your CP575 over here. It needs to be the exact legal business name as you register in your EIN. The next thing that we want to make sure is that the physical address matches, again, the right information about your business. Next, we're going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to see the authorized representative. This needs to be filled out same as your CP575, same information. Important part here in the phone number. This is really important. We want to use a personal phone number, not an LC number. Next up, we have the business information. We want to make sure that you have the right business type. Business industry is also super important. Next, we have the business registration ID type. This is, again, really important. In this case, for this example, we are using a EIN US business, but you can also set up for any other countries. Just make sure that your business is registered and you are paying your business is tax paying in that specific country. Moving on to the next part, we are gonna add the business registration number that's gonna be located in your CP575 over here. Again, important note over here is that we are always going to be referencing this business profile settings. Again, all the details like legal business name, the address, the authorized representative, and specifically the business information needs to match your CP575 document. So before moving on, please make sure all of this data is correctly matching your document, because this is an important step on the process to get approved. The first thing that before moving on, you need to have set up your domain. As you can see here, I have a Go High Level domain over here. It's really important that you have your domain set up. Again, you really need to make sure that you do not submit a high level link when you are going through the process to get approved for A2P. This needs to be connected to your domain. So instead of saying App Leader CRM, because this is a high level website, it needs to say your domain before you proceed. For the process, they are going to review your website. So they are going to click on things. They are going to check that nothing sounds spammy. They are going to check what are your opt-in forms, how is your website is structured, the language, and also the policies. So it's really important that you have all of these things that I'm going to talk about next already figured out. Please make sure that your website is fully functional. Now let's move on to the opt-in form. So inside your website, you're going to have any type of way so you can get leads to your CRM. So this is an important part that we need to sort out in order for the A2P process to get approved. And this is the opt-in form. As you can see, I have a session that does like this ones, but important part is that the phone does not need to be required. So if you have this selected as required, please unmark as required, because it's not, it doesn't need to be required for your leads, and also it's optional. Okay, so that's one first thing to consider for your opt-in form. Next up, we have to check that we have the proper wording for the form. As you can see over here, we have these two check boxes. Those again are optional. The first one says, I consent to receive SMS notifications, alerts, and upcoming show or messages details from company. That's your company name. Message frequency may vary, but you can change it depending on how many messages do you want to send to your leads. It can be 3 times a week or any other wording that you want to apply here. Message and data rates may apply. That's help resistant, and you can reply stop to unsubscribe at any time. This is really important. The company name needs to be the one that you updated on your business profile and that you have registered in your EIN. This first disclosure is going to be called the transactional disclosure. If you're going to be sending any other marketing messages, it's advised that you add a second checkbox like this one over here that says, I consent to receive the occasional marketing messages from company name. You can reply stop to unsubscribe at any time. If you have the intention to send any other type of messages besides notification, alerts, or upcoming meetings, appointments, then you have to add this second consent checkbox. A tip that I can share with you is that, as you can see here in the form builder, I'm using custom fields. All right, so that's going to allow me to probably set up an automation. If they check in the marketing messages, I'm going to be able to set up an automation depending on how or which one of this checkbox they click. Okay, so it's within the system at high level, you can set up this custom fields. Within this opt-in form is that you need to have your terms and conditions and your privacy policy attached to it. Okay, so now going back to our website, we're gonna go to the footer of the website. Something that we wanna make sure is that there is a section specifically to refer to the terms of use and privacy policy. Now that we're able to see that legal information, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share with you some tips that are gonna help you with your terms and conditions for your website. This is in order to make sure that it is compliant. Now that we are at the privacy policy, let's start with this one. I'm gonna tell you what things during the approval process they review in your privacy policy. The important part here is to make sure that you state in your privacy policy that you are not sharing any information to third-party affiliates or any other site. You are also going to be able to find more details on the privacy policy directly from high level. If you go to the A2P registration, they have some guidelines and best practices for your privacy policy. There are a few sections that need to be really clear. For example, how do you collect information from your leads, how you are going to use that information, data security, opt-in SMS information, etc. So those parts and sections are really important. Also, cookies and tracking technologies. This is the base for your privacy policy because that's the things that they are going to review. Then that I can share with you is related to the opt-in SMS information. I'm going to tell you a small text that can help you to customize your privacy policy. For example, company name values your privacy and is committed to not sharing, selling, or otherwise disclosing your opt-in SMS information to third parties. Your phone number and any information related to your SMS subscription will not be shared with any external entity unless required by law or in connection with a legal obligation. All right, so before I dive into the next part where we're gonna dive into the process inside high level to get the A2P, please make sure that any opt-in form that you have on your website at least includes this consent information and your terms and conditions in privacy policy. Anywhere that you ask for a phone number, this information should be added. All right, now let's get started with the A2P process. We're gonna go to settings on our Civ account, and then we're gonna go to phone numbers. Now, if you don't have a phone number already attached to your Civ account, no worries, you can do that later. For now, we're gonna focus on the A2P registration. It's not required to have a phone number. From here, this is our A2P portal. A2P has two important steps. The first one is the brand verification and then the campaign verification. So basically, the brand verification is gonna be around your business. All the information that we added to our business profile, the details that need to match your brand. This information about your brand also needs to match your CP 575 document. So we're gonna go ahead and click on Start Registering Now. All right, so the first question that we're going to be asked is the business entity you're registering located in the US and or Canada? In this case, our business is located in the US. We're going to go ahead and click continue here. Moving on, we have the business details. Important part here, all the information that you added into your business profile is going to be automatically added over here. Now, in this case, I didn't add the information, but you should see the data that you already put on your business profile coming up to here, like the legal business name, the business type, the business registration ID type, and the business registration number. From here, I do 100% recommend that you double check and make sure that the data is correct and accurate. An important note here for the legal business name, one thing that Go High Level recommends is to add the first line and the second line of your CP575. So in this case, it would be these two first lines. Now that we have confirmed all the information, we're going to go to the next step in the registration. All right, so we are in the next step. Again, you need to make sure that this information that was pulled from the business profile, it's accurate. Again, please make sure that you use your CP575 document to make sure that the information is accurate. We're going to hit continue. Moving on, we have the authorized representatives. We're going to add the proper information, the email address, and also in here, please make sure that it's a real phone number and it's not the LC phone number. Double check this part. It needs to be an actual working phone number. All right, once we finish submitting all the business details, we're going to go ahead into the brand details. And this is going to allow you to select which one of the brand types you are going to be working on. On the description, it's going to allow you to see what's the pricing for each one of them. When it comes to A2P, we have two registration plans. You can do the low volume standard or the high volume standard. This choice is going to be dependent on the type of volume that you're going to be working on for your SMS campaign. So for instance, if you're a small business, you can go ahead and select the low volume standard. But if you think you're going to be sending out more SMS, you can go ahead and choose the high volume standard. One note is that you can update your brand, but you will need to submit another A2P registration. As a reminder, if you start with low volume, you can move to high volume, but you're going to have to start another A2P registration from scratch. Okay, so for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and select the low volume standard. And again, in here, you're going to see in the acknowledgement that you're going to see the pricing and the fees for this. Next part on your A2P registration process is going to be the campaign details. The main part here is to understand the campaign use case that you are going to be using for your business. If you click on the drop down over here, you're going to see a bunch of different use cases. For example, if you are only using the SMS for a two-factor authentication and you're 100% sure that you are going to be using this SMS for that, you can go ahead and click on this use case. Now, in the use case description, you want to be really in detail, like you need to provide a detailed description on what the campaign is going to be about. For example, if I'm in a dentist business, I want to make sure that I state that, for example, my messages are going to be related to appointment reminders, not any marketing SMS. So we need to be really descriptive with the use case and provide in detail of what is it going to be about. Go High Level has some examples that you can use in this case, but please make sure that you update the information about your company. So for example, I already pasted the first template. Please make sure that you read the template and make sure you change these details with your company name, because if you leave this template as it is, it's going to be rejected. Next up is another important section here is sample messages. So basically they want to see some examples of how your messages are going to look like. If your business is not already established, it's okay. You can set up some sample messages of how you are going to plan to send this message, like the wording of your messages. Okay, so here we have an example that you can use. Hi John, this is Jane from company name. Our appointment for July, etc. is confirmed. Okay, one important part is that the first message for any of your leads is going to include this verbiage saying reply stop to unsubscribe. This needs to be added to every first message that you send out to your leads. So in these sample messages, you do want to include this opt out, reply stop to unsubscribe. So let me just go ahead and use one of these examples and paste it over here. Please make sure that your details are updated with your company name. In case you want to add the phone number, also update it. And please don't forget again this part of the message. The same thing goes with the second. If you have another use case, make sure to fill it out. How is it going to look like? And also again, the unsubscribe option. Now, an important part here is the last check boxes. You need to have this already sorted out, because in case you want to change it or you made the wrong choice, you will have to restart the process. We need to make sure that we have, if that's the case, that you're gonna send embed links or phone numbers in your messages, that you have this marked as checked, because that's gonna allow the provider to know whether you're gonna be sending this type of messages. In terms of the embed links, please make sure that you include the full URL, not any other type of shortened URL. We wanna make sure that we include the full URL. Next, we have messages will include phone numbers. This is really important. If you are gonna be sending out phone numbers in your SMS, please make sure to mark this as checked. Now, the next one we have is the messages include age-gated content as defined by carrier and CTA guidelines. So in case you are required to know the age, or you sell something that is for an age-appropriate group, you need to check this box just to make sure that it follows also the guidelines. And the last one is the messages include content related to direct lending or other loan arrangements. Again, if the SMS are targeted to lending money or loans, that's also a box that you need to check. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Okay, if I were to say which one of all these processes is the most important part, I would say it's this one, the user consent. How do lead contacts consent to receive messages? You need to understand that this is the content that you're gonna be adding where your leads are gonna opt in. You need to explain here how your customers are gonna opt in via your website. Like I mentioned before, it can be via a form, or if you have it specifically, for example, on your website, subscribe to this or text start to this phone number and you're going to receive updates. Those are the things that you need to add over this user consent section. It is very important that you provide the link to your opt-in form also. Moving on, this next part is probably the easiest. This is just how your opt-in message looks like. Again, you can use the go high level provide examples. All right, so basically with all the steps that we went through before actually doing the A2P registration, like checking on our website, privacy policies, terms of service, opt-in, business profile, having all the information already pre-checked, that's gonna help you to go through this process and get approved fast and easy. We hope this walkthrough helped you feel more confident about setting up A2P registration in high level. I will include some helpful high-level resources in the description so you can go through this process smoothly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.